Hey, what's up? It's Dominic D'Angelo. I'm of adfreeshows.com, SEScoops.com, and brassringmedia.com. Check it out. Right now, I'm flying solo, but shouldn't be long. Robert's going to be on here in any minute, so we will welcome him to the show. But I want to welcome all you to the show as well. Happy Monday. Hope everybody had a great weekend. I had a very busy wrestling weekend. I was at the IWC Super Indy 24 tournament, and wow, what a stellar show that was. A lot of great action in there. And hey, speaking of great action, we got Mr. Robert Karplus in the house. Robert, welcome, man. Happy Monday.
That is the saddest shirt I've ever seen in my life.
I like hearing my cat. And then it says, even at the bottom, I won't lift it up, but it says like, and at maybe 3 other people. That's it.
Oh, okay. That fits a little more. I bet I can name some of those people who are probably joining us in the chat today saying hi. How's that for segue here? JB says, happy Monday, everyone. Wrestling Old Head said, good day to all. Maybe tonight we get a 5th match added to Crown Jewel. Reigns and Reed versus Fat 2 and McIntyre. Like that line of thinking. Maddie says, hey. Dynamite drop in there. Yes, Wrestling Old Head says, where's E? We're missing was up. Way to bury him. But Dre Owens threw a little was up at us. Willie Thornbrew says hello. Thank you to those of you joining us wherever you are in the world, which makes me laugh because on SmackDown on Friday, Michael Cole was hyping up Crown Jewel, and he said the Crown Jewel pre-show, which starts at 2 a.m. West Coast time.
Oh my God.
So if you're awake at 2 o'clock in the morning and you're in the, let's say, Los Angeles area and you're watching the Crown Jewel pre-show, that is some major commitment. But Scott Chaplin at Working Stiff pointed out, he's like, hey, if you watch New Japan, that's old hat for you. You're used to getting up at all hours. But I'm excited for like a 6 a.m., 7 a.m. PLE start time because as an old man, that's when I'm up.
That's like, when you get up, you just watch wrestling to start the day off. That seems like a good plan.
I'm up making Eggo waffles for the kids and, making it happen.
Making it happen. Well, I was surprised that SmackDown made it happen to you because I was looking at I didn't get to watch it, but I did happen to read some of the results. And what I read didn't seem like anything was that, like, if I had hair, blew it back. But you said it was booked really, really well.
So I was over the moon for SmackDown. SmackDown was a great show from a creative, from a booking standpoint. If you're in that writer's room and you want to make every segment of that show make sense in the moment, make sense for your next show, make sense for your next 6 months to a year. That's what we kept seeing across the board on this episode of SmackDown. It wasn't a blow your hair back if either one of us had real hair, got to go out of your way to watch it, but just it didn't insult your audience's intelligence and it set up a lot of things going forward. I'll just kind of needle drop a couple of those moments there.
Sure.
Opening with Cody and Paul Heyman, which we've seen before. And then here comes Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. And Randy Orton's out here for the save. And you're like, all right, this feels like a fairly predictable start. We're going to get a big brawl and whatnot. Instead, it was Heyman was like, nope, I lured Randy out here to get in Randy's ear and tell him like, hey, you should be looking at the guy next to you who's holding that title, because if you guys lose in this tag match tonight, which you're going to, if Cody gets pinned, you're going to be like, hey, I should be world champion. Now, if that guy got pinned, I should have been the leader. And if Orton gets pinned, it should be like, where was Cody? Why did Cody not have my back? It's nice little seeds of dissension when we know there were all those reports coming out of WrestlePalooza that Cody and Randy did pitch the Randy Orton heel turn. And it feels like we've been building to Randy Orton versus Cody at Survivor Series, continuing to plant those seeds while furthering your main event, making it feel like there are consequences to it, and advancing the Cody-Seth Rollins match that we're going to get at Crown Jewel. The other segment that I thought was just chef's kiss brilliant, the Sami Zayn Open Challenge leads to Carmelo Hayes coming out. We saw Carmelo break up with The Miz earlier. Miz attacking Melo, taking him out. Now those guys are on their own journey. They're on their own path. Opens the door for Aleister Black to come out. Sami Zayn on SmackDown has very much been the Sean Waltman X-Pac role of, if you can have a great match with Sami Zayn, you got something. If you can't, boy, you don't belong here. They gave Karrion Kross Sami Zayn. His match didn't blow the world away for anybody. He's not there anymore, which is unfortunate. So I feel like this was a test for Aleister Black a little bit. Let's see how he does in that. It's a nice little surprise. It was a good way to advance the Damian Priest feud. And it's a great way to use those Sami Zayn open match challenges to move a bunch of different storylines forward. I mean, you've now got 3 or 4 different storylines coming out of that match in who's going to be the next person to challenge Sami Zayn. Is Melo going to get a chance to challenge Sami? And if he does, win that title? When are we going to see Melo versus Miz? What's going to happen with Damian Priest versus Aleister Black, which, by the way, they set up for this coming week's SmackDown in Perth.
Wow. Yeah.
So I'm like, that's a segment where you accomplished a whole hell of a lot, where when I get critical of our friends in AEW, now it's Samoa Joe versus Hangman, but like, why? And did you really build it up? Did you really earn it? Or did you just kind of stumble into it? This feels like this was layered and textured and earned.
Interesting. So, yeah, it seems like they just dotted their I's and crossed their T's for what's to come. Obviously, we've been kind of stuck in this holding pattern, it feels, and with both wrestling products in a lot of ways, because like you mentioned last week, too, it's a typical down season for WWE. But if you're doing your due diligence of setting things up, and plus you have that interesting aspect of the Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes feud in your holster, and you're going to utilize it here upcoming, I think it's WWE's in a good spot as they head towards Survivor Series, as they head towards Royal Rumble and WrestleMania season.
Well, they also in that finish the main event, they put in the fans' head, if Orton gets pinned or Cody gets pinned, what's Randy going to be thinking?
Right.
Randy loses because of Seth Rollins' interference. Yes, which means he caught a stray from what was going on with the Seth Cody feud. He took a tsunami, and then afterwards, Cody bests Seth because Seth didn't listen to Paul Heyman.
Right.
So you've got that idea, this story of Seth can't beat Cody one-on-one. He's never done it. He's 0-3 in the company, and that's why he's trying to listen to his oracle, his advocate, whatever you want to call him. So when he didn't listen, hoisted by his own petard. Now, if he does listen to Paul and they do find success, when you pair the Vision with Brock Lesnar, it's not oh no, we're getting a Seth Rollins babyface turn. It's no, Seth's bought in, and he's going to follow the Paul Heyman vision.
Yeah, it's good stuff, Robert. I'm liking it. I like it. So
I'm hoping maybe I'm giving him too much credit. Maybe I'm overthinking this and I'm booking the territory better than they are, but who the hell knows? I love the fact that with everything going on that we can be talking about, you've named this episode after the Becky Lynch Maxxine Dupri match on Raw. You are a sick man.
Look, I love Becky Lynch, and I like what she's doing with the Intercontinental Championship. It just does very much seem like a random kind of match. I know they set it up last week with everything, but when I saw that, I was like, all right, I'll make that the headline. Who makes that their YouTube headline? So maybe it'll catch some.
A guy who really wants clicks.
That's it, right?
But but now that we've finished talking about the blue brand, let's talk about another blue brand that is near and dear to not quite our hearts, but something slightly lower. Guys, enter the room dick first. Boom. Blue Chew isn't just a tablet. It's a cheat code for your crotch. Stronger, harder, longer lasting, like someone gave your downstairs a pep talk and a gym membership. And we have a special deal for our listeners. As always, get your first month of Blue Chew free. Just use promo code RUMOR at checkout. Pay $5 for shipping. That's it. Join Blue Chew's mission to upgrade humanity one thrust at a time. Head to BlueChew.com for details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this episode of Rumor and Innuendo.
Yeah, Blue Chew, thank you. All right, Robert.
Wrestling Oldhead says this should be Maxine's Barry Horowitz moment.
Ooh. Just give her the pat on the back.
The old pat on the back. We are big Barry Horowitz fans here on this show. That was... What's kind of funny is, as a kid, like that was like the preeminent Jewish wrestler, right. And it's not until like later in life when I was like, they're like, oh, did you know Randy Savage was half Jewish? I'm like, where was this information?
I know
when I was a young man, when the mega powers exploded and I needed to pick a side, and if it was a tie on all ends.
You guys also had the X-Man, Dean Malenko.
We didn't know that Dean Malenko was until much later.
much later
And then
on.
you meet him in person, like, oh, there's no doubt. This looks like a man that would send soup back in a deli. And I love Dean. Him and Lance Storm, great, dry, evil senses of humor.
Oh man, I know. Dean's really, really good.
Dean is very, very funny, very good. Raw preview, yeah. Becky Lynch, Maxxine Dupri. Wrestling Old Head says Dan Soder's Randy Savage impression is scary good. It is. He may or may not have appeared on Working Stiff or back when it was Wrestle Roast, Turtle FM Works, as Randy Savage.
Oh my God!
Yeah, you had to go back in the archives. It may have really been Randy Savage. We don't know.
Wow.
But he and I have done dueling Savage impressions in real life, and it's wild.
I'm a big fan of his Andre. Andre's good.
Yes, he does it. He does a good Andre.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple of impressions that'll get busted out. We've all joked like the Dusty impression. If you do it outside of the scope of wrestling fans, that's a dangerous impression to do.
You're taking a gamble.
Yeah, because it can sound less enlightened.
Yes. But will we be enlightened on Raw when we have Maxxine Dupri challenge Becky Lynch? Do you like this as an early setup for what they're like kind of building towards with Becky and AJ Lee? Does this just make sense?
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad idea. I think there is the possibility of Maxxine winning. You know, she's been training really, really hard at the Heart Dungeon or the Dungeon 2.0 that Natty has built. So maybe what they're seeing, that's why we haven't seen her on TV. Like they're going to surprise you, and she's going to be the new Dean Malenko.
Hey, nice.
The woman of 1,000 holds.
I dig that. Well, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But also on the card, Robert, we have Lyra Valkyria challenging Roxanne Perez after she faced Raquel Rodriguez the week before. Makes sense, but clearly a formula going on in how Raw is being booked from week in, week out. You think about how they just switch people in and out, plug people in and out with New Day, going up against other people, and it's just they're in the same ecoscape. Are you okay with that?
I mean, it's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the most polite way I can put that? It's like, no one's tuning in to see Lyra versus Roxanne, but it'll be a solid match.
Yeah,
I'm sure it'll have Bailey. It'll have Raquel. We'll get another awkward interaction, and maybe we'll set up a tag match for next week.
Right. I forget. What's your opinion on how they're handling Bailey right now? Do you like it, or are you kind of where are you at on that?
I think she likes it, and I think that's kind of what matters. I feel like she's having some fun. It's giving her some character development. She's able to do a little bit of the goofy hugging Bailey part, and then she's able to do a little bit more of the serious Bailey. And it's better than nothing.
Where do you go?
Like a lot of what they've been giving her is nothing.
Do you keep her as a baby face, this erratic kind of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde baby face, or do you turn her full heel?
I think I think her as a heel tends to be the better role for Bailey. I think she is an entertaining heel. I think given that you've got a number of baby faces on Raw, we'll see what happens with the Kabuki Warriors. But you've got Io, you've got look, Stephanie Vaquer is going to need a new opponent.
Yes, true.
So I think a twisted heel Bailey going after Stephanie is a lot of fun.
Could be interesting. Wrestling Old Head brings up a point here. Raw's revolving around these really intriguing women's stories: Lyra and Bailey, Rhea and Io and the Kabuki Warriors, Lynch in her impending program with AJ Lee. It's good stuff. So he's an advocate for it, Robert.
I'm not a big fan of the Kabuki stuff,
No,
but I think that's been an execution more than anything else. I think if you're trying to tell the story of Io is trying to make peace with her former stablemates and her new respect friendship thing with Rhea, but at the same time knowing how dangerous Asuka is, and you don't want to run afoul of her. Maybe there's something to it. The way that this has been done in execution is not ideal.
No, I agree with you. I almost feel like they should really, if they want to hone in on Asuka and what makes her so unique, you almost make her like this, for lack of a better phrase, like a serial killer, where she's like so scary that like Kairi Zane's afraid to deal with her, and they're doing that a little bit. But I would really lean into that, where she's just taking some of the women's roster out, and you're making her just this mysterious, scary, frightening threat. good time to do it around Halloween. So I don't know.
It's story versus execution. I always use narratively. I'm a longtime big David Mamet fan. Not a huge surprise on this show. He has a tremendous play called Sexual Perversity in Chicago.
I was in it.
We need footage of this.
I wish I did.
Right now.
I was Bernie.
So what's amazing is it's a tremendous play that has been made into several terrible movies.
Several bad ones.
About Last Night is just brutal. And that's kind of what I feel like we're getting here. Like there's a pitch in the room of what this women's storyline is versus how they're filming it, how they're executing it, that definitely needs some tweaks. We know that Raw, it will not be lacking any star power on the men's side.
No, sir. No, it will not. We have Roman Reigns set to appear. Obviously, after making his, fifth return? And he'll be interacting with the Usos. And then we'll have CM Punk. He makes his return to Raw, too, finally, since WrestlePalooza. So him and AJ Lee, that's where they defeated Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, him and AJ Lee. So how would you handle this as you build towards Crown Jewel and setting something up with Punk and continuing the feud with Seth as well? And the Cody thing's the aspect, too, to think about.
Yeah, there's the Cody aspect of it. We saw what happened on SmackDown on Friday. I don't know that you immediately rush Punk and Seth back on screen together, because then it's like, well, then, what are we getting here?
Right.
It's on the back burner getting to whatever is going to happen with War Games, but I don't know. I genuinely don't know at the moment what the best use of Punk is on this show, because we know where it's ultimately going to go, but you don't want to pull focus away from Crown Jewel.
It's a good point. Yeah, I'm interested. Is he just going to cut some kind of promo and maybe tease a little something? That's the only thing I could really think you would do at this moment in time, because he's not on tap for anything at Crown Jewel at this point in time.
I mean, the easiest thing is Punk and AJ come out, talk about how great WrestlePalooza was. Seth interrupts. Punk's like, hey, you got other things to worry about. Like, you're 0 for 3 against Cody Rhodes. You can't get it done. And win or lose, I'm coming after your world title, and I'm next in line.
Yeah, and that make a lot of sense. He's almost a surrogate for Cody on Raw instead at this point, And I don't know, it could work. See if there's anything else that they list in here.
I mean, I'm sure we're going to get some stuff with Dominic Mysterio, who's got Penta coming after him right now.
Right.
Rusev is still coming after him. Maybe they'll remember their tag titles.
Maybe. Who knows? Would you ultimately turn Dominic heel? I mean, babyface? Or do you like him just kind of being like them, like leading almost into it, him getting that good crowd reaction, but at the same time, he's such a great heel.
So I think the challenge you run into is, I like the winking nature of it, but Penta's an overact.
Mm-hmm.
And if the crowd starts turning on Penta because they want to cheer for Dom, you wind up hurting Penta more than you help Dom.
Right.
So there is the possibility that, you turn Dom babyface, which you'll lose a lot of the specialness of it.
You will. Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you got to keep him this kind of character. Wrestling Oldhead just stole my point right there. He wrote, Dominic can turn fan favorite without ever losing his character, similar to Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah.
You definitely can. You can make him the new Eddie.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But then if you turn him babyface, Ray is on Raw.
It's true.
And you don't want to reunite Ray and Dom.
At least not yet. I wouldn't think. Just seems very soon to do that. I would think.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where they go with that. I'm sure Roman will get some intrigue with Jey Uso and LA Knight and all that other nonsense.
Yeah, it's kind of. I mean, it's the same kind of paint by numbers story that they're doing here, but it is interesting to see where it kind of lays out with Jimmy and all that thing. So there's a little bit of added interest, I think. But
paint by numbers is good. Sometimes when you go too far out of the comfort zone, people don't follow, which we saw with Mr. Dwayne Johnson this weekend.
My goodness. Yeah, Robert, I was kind of surprised. All the hype that Smashing Machine has made before it premiered here. And it did premiere this weekend at the box office. But in a very underwhelming fashion. As a matter of fact, it is the lowest Dwayne The Rock Johnson movie that ever released for a domestic weekend. Smashing Machine set an unfortunate record for The Rock. The Mark Kerr biopic, produced by A24, only scored $6 million for its opening weekend. This is the lowest box office opening ever for a film led by The Rock. I think the second was Faster at around $8 million, and this is $2 million lower. Robert, this movie got a lot of critical praise. Rock got a standing ovation at some event he was at too when it got aired. And wow, what a gut shot this has to be for him.
Well, yeah, this was his bid to try to get an Oscar nomination and get some serious credibility. I think part of it is for the prestige crowd. They're not going out of their way to go see a UFC show, a UFC movie. Sorry. So, it was kind of similar to the struggle with The Wrestler when that came out, but they worked very hard to kind of combat that no, the wrestling is just a vehicle to tell a compelling story. This is Rocky, but with UFC instead of boxing. Mm-hmm. And the UFC and the MMA piece was very much front and center. So there's a lot of folks that are on that sort of the Criterion Collection. I'm on Letterboxd. I'm going to go see, I don't know that I'm necessarily going to go watch an MMA movie. And then all the UFC fans or the MMA fans that would go see an MMA movie are like, oh, this feels like a really serious, heavy drama. This isn't just like a fun MMA match, an MMA movie. I don't know that I'm necessarily going to go see it. And it opened it was a big weekend for college sports, big weekend for the NFL. Baseball is in full swing with the playoffs.
Right.
And there was a huge UFC fight on Saturday.
Not only that, Taylor Swift released a new album, and that even, I think, aired in some theaters, right? They did some stuff.
That did. Oh, my wife and daughter went on Friday. They had a grand old time seeing that.
Yeah.
But your target audiences for this were kind of fractured. So, while yes, there was a lot of praise for Dwayne's performance, the movie didn't receive that same level of acclaim. I love Benny Safdie. I was a big fan of Uncut Gems. Good Time is also a great movie. This didn't have the kind of specialness that we see from Benny Safdie, in that it was a very kind of down the middle kind of film.
Yeah. I know. I'm still intrigued to see it, but it is kind of a bummer for him. How will this affect Rock's relationship with WWE, if at all?
I mean, the WWE is a great world that will always embrace him and accept him. And if he is not working on anything high profile, he can jump back in and be plugged in the WWE and get that fix. Or this was the first year that when someone brought up running for president, that he didn't immediately dismiss it as like, are you out of your mind? So maybe it's, look, I need that love and adulation. Maybe I'm going to get it from Washington.
Wow, man. What a turn of events that would be, for sure.
He could be like Ronald Reagan. When it doesn't work on the acting, let me go run for office.
See what happens.
But
Wrestling All That says, I watched it. It seemed like they left some things out in favor of tear-jerking moments. And then he added visual, sound, and music direction were all great.
Well, it's also tough because anyone that's watched the documentary kind of knows the whole story.
Mm-hmm.
So right. There's that aspect of it as well. I'll be honest, I didn't see it like nonstop commercials on TV.
No, I didn't either.
So I didn't know it actually even opened this weekend. It was part of the problem with a lot of these film festivals now, where they're putting a lot of these major movies in there. You get the press and the reviews a month, 2 months ago, rather than, the embargo is being, lifted on Tuesday for the movie coming out this Friday. And then you get 30, 40, 50 commercials for it that's airing during an NFL game, during a college football game, during the baseball games, during Raw, during SmackDown. I don't feel like we were, hit over the head, no pun intended, for this movie coming out.
No, I think that's a good point too, because I mean, I saw all the early hype for it and everything to that effect, but I mean, and I was fortunate enough to see when it was premiering that this weekend it was, but I mean, it barely hit my radar in that regard, I would say, Robert. Your Gators, they hit the radar, huh? Man, talk about pro wrestling elements. That quite the upset on Texas there.
Well booked match, well booked game. Yeah, that came down to the end, but an absolute blast. Was so excited to be there in person and watch the Gators beat Texas, and it was also great because I knew that Travis Scott song they kept playing because I'm like, oh no, that's the song from WrestleMania. I'm still hip and with it with the kids, and that's what you guys tune in here for every Monday through Friday at noon Eastern. You can catch us on a plethora platforms, including WW_Creative_ISH X account, the at Dominic D'Angelo X account, the at SE Scoops X account, and on YouTube on Rumor and Innuendo and ad-free shows. So on behalf of the man who's wearing a shirt that'll someday be his suicide note, Dominic D'Angelo, I'm Robert Karpolis. Best of luck in your future endeavors.
Boy, I love my cat.